Greetings, this is August 12th, 10 a.m., and we are looking at images from the International Space Station as it rolls over the Pacific. Lightning went through yesterday and along came the rains. Going to BC Wildfire's active fire map, we can see a lot of new red spots. These are new fires, and they appear fairly random. However, they're following a trajectory in the path of the lightning as it moved northwards. Here we're looking at 100 Mile House, Shuswap, and we'll take a look at these areas on the infrared. We're now looking south of Kamloops, Merritt, Logan Lake. Maybe a dozen spots kind of spread over a 100-200 kilometer area, and these are in fairly remote positions. There may or may not be road access up to these sites. Now we're looking around the 100 Mile House region, and we can see 5, 6, 7 spots that are up on the Caribou Plateau. Jumping over to Windy, here's the rain belt from yesterday, flowing from the coast up over to the Rockies, and those yellow light green concentrations, that's the most precipitation. The blue, purple, all those areas got some rain. Zooming into the area around 100 Mile House, 70 Mile House, a lot of dense yellow there. That's higher levels of precipitation. Good news for crews and the communities in that area. However, with the rain have come mudslides. Clinton, last time I checked last night, it was closed both directions due to mudslides. And back down in Cache Creek, we're looking at the Sea to Sky Highway. There's a blockage there, and over Highway 1, that's also got a blockage. So check the Drive BC site. The links are below before you're traveling anywhere, just to make sure that your routes are going to be clear and you may have to take detours. Looking at the forecast for Windy, some increased velocities in the wind this morning, early afternoon. Then it looks like we're drying out a bit. We might get some sunshine back by Monday. Cooler temperatures. However, those winds are continuing, and there's a lot of variation. They're changing directions, primarily from the south and the west. So check your position in relationship to these fire zones, and because mudslides can also be occurring in the back roads and on the FSRs. We are looking at a screen from the NRC. This is showing infrared to 7:43 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And these are the 24-hour indication. Now let's roll into a screen from just the last 12 hours. A lot fewer infrared hotspots being shown. That's a good sign. However, they may be obscured by cloud cover, haze in the area that's being pressed down to the ground. Let's look at the region further north around Fraser Lake, Houston. We are looking at new hotspots from the last 12 hours, and still a lot of intensity and heat in this region. Moving a little bit further north to the area west of Dease Lake, this is Telegraph Creek. You can see it on the left side of your screen. Still new hotspots coming in this morning, so very active fire zone there. Now we're looking at a fire that's kind of between Highway 97 and the Coquihalla, adjacent to Hell's Gate. This is the 24-hour map looking at all the activity, and here rolling into the 12-hour map looking at the most recent activity. It seems to be concentrating within the existing perimeters, and we are seeing some patterning which may be part of a control strategy at work there. Let's take a look back at the South Caribou. This is the area around 100 Mile House, 70 Mile House. This is the 24-hour map yesterday. There's a lot of activity, a lot of new activity around the Wild Goose Lake fire. That's that large concentration of hotspots. And then moving to today, we are seeing a reduction in the amount of 24-hour hotspots overall. Then when we look at just the 12-hour hotspots, what's occurred in the last 12 hours? Nothing. That's a good sign. Keep in mind that some of these infrared may be obscured by cloud and haze. Let's move a little further north. This is the area to the southwest of Quesnel. And at the 24-hour map this morning, we see definitely two clusters of infrared hotspots, but then moving to the more recent 12-hour map, no new hotspots under 12 hours being shown at this time. That's a good sign. Moving over to the area west of Prince George around Fraser Lake, a lot of activity going on there this morning, and rolling into the 12-hour map. Not a lot of change from this perspective. There's still intensity there. There's still a lot of activity. We'll take a look at a screen from last night. This is zoomed into the area around Fraser Lake, and you can see where those newer infrared hotspots are concentrated. We can see some infrared moving northwards just outside the existing perimeters shown on this data. We'll move quickly up to Telegraph Creek and look at the 24-hour map. This is the activity that's been occurring over the last day, and then rolling to the 12-hour indications. Reduced activity. They seem to still be within those existing clusters of infrared, so not a lot of spreading growth. Let's jump over to the opposite end of the province. This is southeastern British Columbia. A lot of intensity over the 24-hour map, and there's not going to be significant change as we look at the 12-hour map. A lot of intensity, a lot of new hotspots occurring within those existing perimeters. We can zoom into an area around Creston. There's 3 major fires going on there right now. These are fairly recent, 3-4 days old, lightning caused. And if we look west of Creston, there's one that's moved towards the highway number 3. We're looking at the 12-hour map. This is recent activity, and in the computer calculation, over 6,000 hectares involved. Appropriately, this area is called Blazing Creek. The official estimate is over 2,000 hectares, so there is difference between what the computer model is and what the actual eyes on the ground calculating the amount of forest involved. So go with the official estimate. And check Drive BC. There is potential for road closures along Highway 3 due to the wildfire activity. And I'd like to show you one last screen from the NRC infrared data. This is from last night after the rains had gone through. No infrared being displayed for the area north of Horse Lake and south of Buffalo Lake. I'd like to talk a little bit about the lightning that's gone through the area. We're looking at lightningmaps.org, and there is a link below. A useful tool to see almost in real time where these strikes are occurring. You can see there's a series of totals at the top left of the screen. That's the North American count. Lightning tends to occur in clusters. It's moving across the Rockies in this image, and there may be several hundred strikes as it moves its way northward. The images that you're seeing are from the mobile app. I've loaded it onto my device. However, there's lightningmaps.org. This is a website, and you can go there, and it almost has more detail available. We can indicate the monitoring stations, the coverage areas, the lines that indicate which monitoring station picked up the strike. In this screen, we're seeing the overlaid coverage from different stations. So where the darker area is in the purple, blue, that's where the most coverage is, and then it kind of fades out to a light red, pink. That's where there's less coverage. In the South Caribou, there's 4 stations mainly. Barrier, Clearwater, Potato Mountain, and Williams Lake. So that gives us a fairly accurate and responsive tool to evaluate lightning in our area. I've rolled into a series of screens from Ontario a few days ago just to show you the lines being indicated. They are tracking a strike and then showing which monitoring stations picked up that strike. So there's multiple verifications. It's a pretty handy tool, whether you're using the app or checking in on the website. There is another one as well. This is from the NRC, and it's the Canadian Lightning Danger Map. This indicates where lightning may strike, and it gives you kind of a 10-minute heads up, but you will have to refresh your browser to catch the latest data coming in. So it's if you're anticipating lightning, it's probably worthwhile to check this site, just do a quick look and see what's going on in your area. On the same website, there's lots of links. You can learn about lightning, its effect on the forestation. There's lightning statistics, and surprising how many strikes occur within a 24-hour period, thousands. It's a good resource. Check it out. May be valuable for your situation. Just some quick statistics. 45% of all fires are caused by lightning, and over 80% of the total area burned is caused by lightning. I'm also going to link to an article by Ainsley Cruikshank in the Star Vancouver talking from June 23rd about lightning effect. Over 4,800 strikes in one period, and the next 24-hour period, 28,000 strikes. Amazing. There's also a good read on the Cloak Lake fire, and lightning occurs in very remote areas, and crews have a difficult time getting there. If fire and lightning are threatening a community, they're going to be responding. But it's also part of a natural process that's reducing fuel in the forests. I'm going to link another article from Bend, Oregon. This is on holdover fires. What happens is a cluster of lightning goes through. There's many strikes. The energy goes into the roots of tree systems. It can sit there and smolder for several days, weeks, and then when conditions are right, when air and oxygen get to that smoldering fire, it can ignite much later after the storm and after conditions have changed. So one of the things crews have to do is monitor where lightning strikes occur and then repeatedly check back and see if there's indication of fires starting up. I also have a PDF to an article written for the Department of Geomatics Engineering, University of Calgary, and it's assessing lightning, the wildfire hazard, land properties. Does soil affect where lightning strikes? Very interesting read, very thick. So I'll see if I can find the link for that and post it in the description below. But there's also a 1967 lightning behavior and lightning fires in the Canadian forests. Very valuable piece of literature. It goes back to research back to the 1960s, and things haven't changed that much. It's still the same percentages, high 40s for causes by lightning strikes, and over 80% of the total area burned is caused by lightning. So things haven't changed that much in regard to what they were researching in the past. An interesting note, one electrical fire in 1960 in July caused 600 fires between Nelson and Kamloops. One storm. And we're back to the International Space Station looking at imagery as it flies towards North America. I occasionally check this site. It's an application to just see if I can grab a view of our beautiful part of the world, obscured by cloud at the current time. And this affects infrared, so you want to get data from multiple sources. Check with BC Wildfire, check with the TNRD, the CRD, and their emergency services. Be safe. Know your routes. Have your resources prepared ahead of time. Watch the wind. New oxygen can come into these fire zones and we can have flare-ups. Even though a fire seems calm, it seems smoldering, a change in the weather dynamic can cause increased activity. This is an image of Rory the cat, one of our best fire watchers. He's got a good nose. And I posted this for Zara, one of our youngest viewers, and she's very interested in forest fires. And thank you very much for watching, Zara. And Rory's going to take a day off. There's been rain, so be safe, everyone. Keep your nose to the breeze.